How do you ensure a successful commercial voiceover session? Well, in my experience voicing for brands like Tia Maria, Canali, Braun, Hasbro, Star Wars, there are some things that I've learned doing commercial voiceover, specifically in live directed sessions. Now, there are some things that I think are prerequisites to a successful voiceover session, and of course, it starts with material. So the script, music, perhaps a reference video, any kind of reference tracks, anything that can help me as a voice actor get comfortable with the material. Now, I do want to add one thing to that. You don't want your voice actor to over-rehearse the script. I should be able to see the script purely for the purposes of getting comfortable with the material, but I shouldn't be there repeating it several times before the session. I personally think that's a mistake. The reason I say this is, until I've received proper direction, I don't want to get too fixated in one, shall we say, mode of performance. If I perform it in a certain way and I decide, well, that's how it's supposed to be, and then I enter the session and the client had a completely different idea, now I have to kind of unlearn some potentially bad habits that I've developed. So I want to read it, I want to check the vocabulary, I want to check for any perhaps tongue twisters or weird sentences, but that's where I'd stop. Other thing is, that material should be provided in advance, ideally. If it's not the end of the world, but it means that you have to spend more time analysing it and it kind of wastes time during the session. So ideally, the material comes before the session. I would say at least the day before it would be ideal. Directions are also something where I think improvements can be made. Directions should be very specific and story-driven. What I mean by that is, a lot of directions I receive are tone and style. So I want you to be happier, I want you to be more emotional, which doesn't really give me a ton to latch onto. I've mentioned this in a previous video as well, but just to keep it short, we really want to be placed inside context, we want to be characters inside a story, and that's really going to ground our reads and make it sound more believable. That's really the objective, especially in an age of AI where we don't want to be tone boxes, we want to be real human beings in real stories and real contexts so that we can deliver the best performances. And in my experience, the best directors have really helped me to find that place, that space I can be in as a character. The third thing is a clear vision as to what you want it to be. I've had sessions where clients, they just want all sorts of variations. You know, either it's for safety or how about you try this, or maybe you can do it this way. This is really symptomatic of a lack of organisation. If you don't know what you want, how can you expect me to know? Now, sometimes there are exceptions to this. What I would say is, if the job specifically calls for some level of artistic and poetic interpretation, where the client actually wants me to interpret it. And that's something that can definitely be done. Actually, I did one last week literally like that. And it's nice in a way because it gives me the freedom to put, shall we say, my own emotion, my own storytelling into it. And if you can do that, then it's great. But that's often not the case. Sometimes you want, or very often you want, a clear vision so that I can execute on that vision. Otherwise, there's potentially a mismatch. So have a clear vision, make sure you know exactly what you want. Now, if you don't do any of these things, you are depending very much on the voice actor and, well, really luck. Because there are situations in which you give the script during the session and then the voice actor does exactly what you want. That is possible. But if you're spending thousands of dollars on a commercial with a pretty extensive usage, do you really want to leave it up to chance?